Welcome to this tutorial about how to build a backlink strategy. Today we're going to cover just exactly how not to build your backlinks to your website and just common pitfalls that people make. Next, we're going to look at anchor texts and how they play into your backlink strategy. And finally, I'm going to walk you through an important backlink strategy. To kick things off, I want to ask you, what do you think is the most important ranking signal in Google? If you answered backlinks, you are probably right. This graph here shows a study that was done by Brian Dean from Backlink, where he analyzed millions of sites ranking in Google and found a strong correlation of backlinks towards ranking higher in Google. So we know that backlinks are important. However, you really can do backlink building wrong, and you need to be careful in how you approach it. The last thing you want to do is receive an email like this, or even worse is not getting an email from Google and being kicked out of their search engine. So this is what we want to avoid. So here are some things to watch for. First is knowing the rules that Google has towards building backlinks and understanding that Google heavily frowns on purchasing backlinks, creating what are called PBNs, private blogging networks, where you create your own websites to link to yourself. Really anything that Google sees as a scheme, or really going to the next point, not natural or unnatural backlinking, it really frowns upon. Another thing that Google frowns upon is over optimization, which we're going to go into detail when we talk about a backlink strategy. But ultimately, this is just building a lot of the same type of backlinks to your website. And finally, you really should just know that Google looks at all backlink building as black hat, or at the very least gray hat. Google doesn't want you out actively building links, and really would just rather you create good content and hope that backlinks come to you. However, we can't trust that that's going to happen, and hence why we actually build backlinks. But before we get into an actual backlink strategy, one thing you really need to understand well is anchored text. And this is a very common term in SEO, but confusing as well. As you're going to see here in a minute, there's a lot of different types of anchor text. But let's just look at the basic definition from Wikipedia, which states the anchor text, link label, or link text is the visible, clickable text in an HTML hyperlink. Now that may not be very clear. So this page here is a web page from our university, and we can actually find anchor text on it. And anchor text really is what you're seeing here. This is a link that they have, and it goes on to 2 lines. We also see it here, here, and here. These are all examples of anchor text. So really what anchor text is, it is text that has a hyperlink embedded in it. It's not just that simple. In fact, there are 12 different types of anchor text, and I'm going to just show you by using Devin Supertramp's website just exactly what each of these are. So starting off is the brand anchor text, and the brand anchor text really is Devin Supertramp. That's his brand, that's his name. Whatever the name of the company that you work for or your website is the brand. Next is the generic anchor text, and this is just a link that has something, as we see here, check him out, or go to the website, click here. These are all just very generic anchor texts that still link back to Devin's website. Now we're looking at the actual domain name, and we can see that right here where it says devinsupertramp.com. And the next one is not too different from the previous one, and that is where it links to the actual URL. Here they're linking to the homepage, but it's the actual full URL of http or https://devinsupertramp.com. We can also see this without the HTTP. And this is important because obviously that Google is seeing that this is a different anchor text. And we can also see that this variation with the www. So with these two, where you have the HTTP or TPS or the www, or it doesn't have it at all, are all different variations of anchor text. Now we're going to look at the type of anchor text that can really help you rank in Google, and that is an exact match anchor text. So let's say that Devin was trying to rank on production company. He wanted to be number one in Google for production company. He would have an anchor text that states production company. And it used to be about 10 years ago that this was the main metric that Google would rank websites on, where the more you had an exact match hyperlink pointing to your website, the more likely you were going to be number one in the search engines. Now, if you were to follow this exact same strategy where you get thousands of exact match backlinks, you would actually either hurt your website or Google would see it as unnatural and it would ignore these links. And we're going to get into that. But the exact match anchor text is one of the more powerful ones in helping Google know what sort of keywords you want to rank on. And so you can imagine if you don't want to have thousands of the same exact match, we can see that we could have what are called exact match plus. So let's say Devin was trying to rank on the keyword video campaign. Here we have a link where it says crazy cool video campaign. And so this is the exact match plus, where it's trying to still give signals to Google that he would like to rank on video campaign, but making sure that it is not an exact match. Now, the next example, Devin didn't really have anything when I looked at his backlinks. So let's say Devin was trying to rank on adventure tour. Brand plus exact match would be Devin Supertramp and adventure tour. And let's just pretend we don't see that Mountain Dew is also a hypertext. But let's just say it was adventure tour with Devin Supertramp. And that would be a brand plus exact match. The next one is what is called a partial match. And so if we go back to the example of Devin trying to rank on video campaign, and we had crazy cool video campaign, a partial match really only takes a partial or only takes a part of the exact match and links to it. So let's say in this example, we didn't have the other part of the exact match and only had campaign. And so that would be a partial match. Now, another really common anchor text is where a website takes the title of an article on your site. So this is an article on Devin's site, and let's say another website just took the title of what he had here and linked to this page, which is very common to see of just sites when they're making a reference to an article just to capture the title. Another one that's harder to find, and this was something that I pulled out of the Ahrefs tool here, is what is called an empty anchor. And an empty anchor is really an image where it is linking to Devin's site, but it doesn't have the alt tag in there. It doesn't have anything in the alt tag. And so therefore, the search bots aren't seeing any sort of keyword that relates to Devin Supertramp's site. This final anchor text is not as common, but I did find it in Devin's backlinks, and that is where someone links to your website using your domain, but the actual link that's embedded is to a page and not to the home page. So you can see here I hovered over this link here to pull up down at the bottom, showing that that link actually doesn't go to the home page. But again, this is still helpful to Devin, and it gives a cue to Google that Devin Supertramp is a brand. Okay, so that's the 12 different types of anchor text. Now let's talk about why that all matters, because it does. It's important to know those different categories of anchor text when you're looking at building out your backlink strategy. So I want to talk about my approach to building backlinks. And I'm going to use this upside down triangle to just demonstrate my approach. And then I'm going to go into why that approach is important. So when I build backlinks, the very first thing I start with is the homepage. And I really put an emphasis with my backlinks there. And I really put the majority of my backlinks there. Next is building backlinks to my pillar pages. Now, these are the pages that have the most in-depth content and really to the user the most value, but they still aren't going to get as many backlinks as the homepage because that's just not natural to Google. Next, I'm going to look at the support pages. These are the pages that link to the pillar pages that just go more in depth with that topic. And again, these pages naturally don't get as much backlinks as pillar pages do and as your homepage does. And then finally, I deal with the transactional pages. Now, these generally are your money pages, and to you, they're the most important. But to Google, these sort of pages are not naturally linked to. And so going and building a lot of links to a transactional page will look unnatural to Google. And the best thing that you can do here is not really build backlinks and do internal linking with your homepage and your pillar pages. So let's dive into that exact approach, and let's start off with homepage backlinking. So when you're building backlinks, you really want to pattern your backlinks after big brands. Google has said numerous times that brands are important to the search engines, particularly because Google knows that a brand isn't just going to throw away all its hard work that it spent on building its name with spammy tactics. So when you're looking at, say, a site like Amazon, we can see that its homepage really deals with branded and generic backlinks. So we can see here there's 139 million backlinks to Amazon's homepage that just say Amazon, and then another 98 million that say Amazon.com, and then we have here, and then we see www.amazon.com and book. All of these are either branded or generic backlinks. And so Google really takes these sort of cues and says, hey, if this site is a brand, it's going to be similar. So when you're building your backlinks, the very first place you're going to start is your homepage. And hopefully, as you can see with the Amazon example, when you're building backlinks, you can't just build any links to your homepage. And you also want to make sure that you're not using exact match keywords to your homepages, because that's just as we saw with Amazon, there wasn't exact match keywords that were linking to its homepage. And so that's something you don't want to do. But what you can do is have your homepage with those keywords on it so that when Google comes to it, it can say, oh, this website is about videography, and therefore I'm going to rank it with that, even though it doesn't have those sort of cues in the homepage. And really, all your efforts here is to build your website as a brand. And so having 90 to 95% of your backlinks being branded anchored text is going to be helpful. In fact, when I looked at Devin Supertramp's website, that was exactly the case that he had. I would say it was 97 or 98% of just branded terms of his website and his name. Finally, you want to make sure that your homepage has double the amount of backlinks to it than any other page on your website. Again, this is what Google sees as natural, and doing it any other way, Google's going to pick up on the fact that you are unnaturally building backlinks. So the next part in my upside down pyramid is your pillar pages. And with your pillar pages, you're looking at about 30 to 40% of your backlinks being exact match plus. So not having an exact match anchor text. But as we saw with Devin's site, where it was the crazy cool video campaign, that would be an example of an exact match plus. And let's say Devin had a video campaign pillar page that was all about how to build the best video campaign. That would be an example of his 30 to 40% backlinks that he would build to that pillar page. And you really want your exact match to be between 0 to 10%. And to be on the conservative side, I would even put that at 5% to make sure that you're not overdoing your exact match backlinks. Yet I wouldn't even focus on your exact match anchor text until you have 15, 20, even 50 backlinks that are generic or branded pointing to your page. So Google thinks that your backlinks are coming in more naturally and not just hyper-focused on your exact match. And then finally, you want to really push your branded and generic anchor text between 55 to 65%. That's going to be the majority of your backlinks. So again, if we're looking at Devin Supertramp, we would use his name, we'd use his website, we would use click here, check this out. These would be the majority of anchor text focused on Devin's different pillar pages. Okay, I want to wrap up this backlink strategy of how to use anchor text with the support and transactional pages. Now, these pages, as stated when I was walking you through the upside down pyramid, most websites don't have a ton of links to these pages. You want to make sure that these pages don't have a lot of backlinks if you build backlinks at all towards them. Your best strategy is really to focus on your website's internal linking. So having your pillar pages and your home page link to these pages. Particularly, you're looking at your transactional pages. So if you're an e-commerce site, obviously you want your products to rank in Google, but products don't garner a lot of backlinks. So building links to your homepage, building links to your pillar pages, and then linking those pages to your transactional page will actually help it rank in the search engines and be a cue to Google that these are important pages to you. And so I don't want to say that you can't build backlinks to these pages. You definitely can, but do it very slow and really focus on generic and branded anchor text when you do this. You don't want to throw too many exact matches onto these pages. Your support pages wouldn't be as bad as your transactional pages, but again, do it slow and do it less frequently as you would your homepage or pillar pages. Okay, so let's recap on what we went through here. We talked about what to watch for when you're building your backlinks, knowing that really Google sees all backlink building as black hat. We looked at 12 different variations of anchor text, and then we applied that understanding of anchor text to your backlink strategy and really looked at how the anchor text play an important role to your homepage, your pillar page, and your support and transactional pages. So that's it. If you've got any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'll see you in the next tutorial.